Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Triple Clowns. It's us. Well, we have a new guy here. You see that?
We have a new
we have
clown.
a new clown here. Don't worry about AJ. He's fine. He'll be with us on other things. But we have a new clown here that I think you might know. But obviously, it's me, G. Randall Johnson, alongside the beautiful Sarah Marie, Mrs. Big News, and Shoe. And we all know Shoe. From Shoe Eats Turf, there he is with a cigar in his hands. And he's going to join us now. He's going to be another clown. I know clown's offensive to you, Shu, but it's not anymore. Okay.
We sucked you in. You got to accept it.
How about, did you see the horse last week that debuted at Gulfstream? Clown Shoe?
Oh, I didn't miss that.
Are you kidding me? See, this is.
No, it was a Donald Disney horse, maiden, Clown Shoe. I think he ran like 4th or 5th, but you got to love
That's
the name.
what we expect out of him.
Yeah.
You know, a decent run.
You're right.
Doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
The Clown Shoe. See, there it is.
There
So
we
we
go.
know new favorite horse we have. But Shoe, welcome aboard. You know, you've been here before, but obviously Degen Nation, which we're representing, we're going to do a lot of big things here. And we're going to get into a little bit about that, possibly about Degen with Shoe in a minute. But because that's a little bit of news for everybody. But you can see also we are alongside John Boal, 2 4-letter words, John Boal, and he is the author. He writes, he does a lot of research. And let me tell you, he is the Maiden Man. And we have it right here. And it's pretty cool. We're going to talk about this book. He cracks the code on 7 and 7.5 furlongs, which obviously we all want to do. The weirdest race there is.
He did it for us.
So, Shu, what do you think about 7.5 furlong races? It's a crazy thing, right?
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's a tough distance. I think, you know, whether it's on the dirt at Churchill and you're going 7 furlongs, or you're talking about the 7.5 furlong turf races down at Gulfstream Park. I think it's a unique distance. I think, you know, post position can mean a lot, but certainly pedigree goes a long way. So I'm interested to learn what John has to say today.
Absolutely. So let's get into it right now. Let's talk about that before we get into the news. Would you say let's go to John right away with about this and what John does? Tell us what you do, John, quickly. And like I said, you have the 7 furlong, 7.5 Sire Rankings, which basically shows you, and you can tell it better than me, but I read it. I didn't read every name there, but a lot of research went into the Sire Rankings of the most prolific sires at 7 to 7.5 furlongs, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
So John, tell us a little bit about this book and what you're doing now.
Well, I'm in my 35th year of handicapping on the weekends and betting the horses. Started in 1986. I was on a men's adult baseball team over at outside Santa Anita Park. They have a men's adult team. And Louis and Gino from Montebello said, hey, let's go to the races over at Santa Anita. We went, 50,000 people there that day, back in the day. And they got hooked in 1986. And we went on to win the LA County Men's Baseball Championship that year, best of 36 teams. And I won the first day. I was there with Jimmy the Hat. I don't know if you know Jimmy the Hat Allard. And he gave us a tip. He was touting for horse and jockey at the time, and got hooked. And we won the championship. I put down my first baseman's glove and started following the horses. And what happens is you listen to these handicappers on the air, and they would always give you the same rationale for a horse in a certain race. And the 7 furlong race was the one that really threw me off. They would always say, well, this horse had speed in a route and is now shortening up to 7. And of course, the horse ran up the track more often than not. And I thought, well, you know, it's probably breeding that determines, because there are so many sharp sprint sires that can sustain that speed over 7 and hold off all the late chargers. So I started 10 years ago, started logging the winners of all the 7 furlong and 7.5 furlong dirt and turf. And for whatever reason, California doesn't chart 7.5 furlong races on dirt or turf. I don't know why.
Because they don't run them.
Huh?
They don't run them. There's no 7.5s at Santa Anita.
In Southern California, no.
Yeah.
There aren't any. It's Kentucky, Florida, and New York. For whatever reason, makes no sense. But Speightstown is number one over 10 years. And the sons of Speightstown are doing so well. Munnings has risen up the chart so fast on dirt and turf. Tappet is number two, Candy Ride 3, I think, and it just goes on and on. So it's a pecking order of the top sires at this distance who can sustain that speed over 7 or 7.5. And the reason again was because the touts would always say this horse is shortening up to 7 from a speedy route. And it just drove me nuts because invariably that horse would not win. So I started logging to say, of so many sprint sires, City Zip, Wildcat, Hare, with distinction, High Cotton, Yes It's True, and Munnings. Munnings is now number 7 on the list for sprint sires. So you have to know your pedigree inside out, upside down to win at this pivotal distance.
Well, John, first of all, don't give all your whole, top things at the thing. We want people to buy your book. I mean, come on, man. I'll edit that out if I have to.
Look, I've been in it 35 years. I have my ups and downs. The last 5 have been great. I'm here to share the information, give out as much as I can. So, I mean, to have the younger generation be so inspired to be, following this sport that I thought was on its deathbed a couple of years ago. And social media, I think, is going to help save this sport. And thanks for doing what you do.
Oh, no. Thank you for doing this. And
More
honestly,
thanks to you.
that's what Degen Nation is trying to do.
We got to give back. We all have to give back to save this game.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying to get the younger people involved. It's sometimes, it's hard to get younger
the
people
younger
involved.
generation is so motivated by instant gratification. And early on, I learned instant gratification is great, but it's not for the long haul. You've got to really know what you're doing inside out.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get into like where you can get this, your very, very amazing book, a lot of research, like you said, thousands of things. Let me ask you, Sarah, is this something you guys go towards, or would this be something you would use as in, we're looking at sires? Is that a big thing for you? We'll start with you. Is that a big thing for you when you look at the stats of sires?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, the horses are bred to do certain things. I mean, I know I'm interested what John has to say about Fat Man, because I was talking to Kent Sweezy the other day, and Fat ran 3rd at Laurel in the stake, and he's been, kind of that one pace, 7 furlong mile horse, and he's a Munnings. And so I talked to Kent, and he said, maybe we'll throw him on the turf and see what he can do. And again, it's what turf distance do you put him off at? Do you go to a Gulfstream, put him at 7.5? Do you go the mile? And there's so many of those horses out there that appreciate the 1-turn mile versus the 2-turn mile. We hear that with Nick's Go, right? Who's going to be in the Breeders' Cup this fall. So it's interesting to dive into the pedigrees and see what horses like to do. I always hate the closing 6 furlong sprinters that all of a sudden stretch to 7 and get so overbet because people think, oh, that extra furlong, he's just going to cruise. And it just never happens.
Yeah.
Well, wait,
Yes,
an extra
every time.
furlong is a half of track as a human. When we look at a track, it's not exactly like 20 yards away.
Right,
it's a half a track. Like when we, as a human track, that's a half a track. That's pretty far, which means an 1/8 of a mile. Yeah, I did math.
Right.
So
job.
John, with that being said, what Shu just said, what do you think about that? The Fat Man, have you thought about that? The Munnings thing?
Because I'm so focused on Southern California, I'm not sure of the horse that you referenced, but I know Munnings. And Santa Anita, as you probably know, this winter meet, for the first time had turf 5, 5.5, and 6 and 6.5. I'm sorry, 6 and 6.5 on turf at Santa Anita for the first time on that straightaway on the backside. Munnings was the #1 turf winner of all of those sprints in Santa Anita's 2021 meet. 6, followed by Square Eddie and some other California sires. But Munnings was #1 on turf for sprints.
Wow.
So, and he's like I said, he's number 7 on dirt 7 furlong sprints nationwide over the last 10 years. And he's just started. He's getting his groove on so fast. I mean, but he's a Speightstown. So Speightstown, even though it's AWD is 6.4, Speightstown wins at a mile and a quarter. I mean, I don't know, everyone's enamored with Tappet, and we have to be, but Speightstown is, for me, is the one I keep my eyes on. Or Sons of Speightstown too.
Yeah, I mean, I see that's your number 1. And no, it's funny. And they're going downhill now again, by the way.
We're doing the
Oh, they are?
6.5 downhill at
They're going
Santa
downhill,
Anita.
yeah.
And that's the breaking news.
There you go. Yeah. Oh,
I have a 9-year.
Jumped on that. I'm sorry.
You ruined
I
his
was just
moment.
there the other day, and I knew that.
I have sorry I could hold this up to the camera, but you can't see it. I'm holding it up now. It's a 9-year study of down the hill races of sires and jockeys.
So you're working on that
That's
book now?
awesome.
It's
Okay.
published.
Wow.
I totally
published.
screwed this up, John. You should have told me what you were doing.
John,
And I
it's
would've
okay for
published
you to
it.
just cut in and tell Randy to shut up. He's used
The ad for it will be on the Eddie D on October 1st in the Daily Racing Form Western Edition.
That's awesome.
But I will send you I'll send you a copy of it in the meantime.
Absolutely.
So who was the number
We'll take-
1? Who was number 1 for the downhill?
Okay. Down the hill over the last 9 years, 8 out of 10 were California-based sires. Number 1 by far is Unusual Heat.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Number 2, Tribal Rule. Number 3, Square Eddy. Number 4, City Zip. In Excess, Descartes, Vronsky, Avenue of Flags.
And the rest you have to buy the book for. Come on, John.
Yeah, there you
Wait
go.
for free.
Jesus, come on.
I'm a giver. I'm sorry, but I'll put it in the mail for you. You can read the
I
whole
know,
thing.
I'm going to be your agent from now on.
And-
John. We gotta.
Unbelievably, Bejarano killed down the hill 149 winners over 9 years, more than the second guy, Talamo, and they're both gone. So
Yeah.
they both left.
Wow.
Wow.
So interesting enough, I sent a tweet to Bejarano yesterday saying, you got to come back, por favor, because you're number 1 over the last 9 years. And he tweeted me back, and he's following me.
That's great.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
the one who knew that. You know, it's funny. I knew Talamo downhill sprint. I knew that one.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I always like Bejarano probably more than most people did. And it's probably because of that as well. But we're talking California stuff.
Look, I mean, that sounds like you know the course well. It's undulating. It's magnificent to watch, and it's curves and whatnot. And when they cross the dirt, you always hold your breath, like,
Yes.
oh, please
I have
God.
only-
please
Oh,
God.
God, you do.
We have a horse that we were actually talking about. I'll bring it up again, and I was bringing up my man Vertical Threat, who I don't know if you know him, John.
Yes, I've seen,
Sprinter. He's going to the Santa Anita Sprint. He's very good, but he's fearlessly around turns and everything like that. And we always joke about if that downhill course got opened, he'd
Who's-
just be a maniac, but he might jump the whole dirt. He might try to jump the whole
Yeah.
dirt cross.
who's the
But
sire?
Tapature. So I know he doesn't have a very good, but he's a
Say it again?
Tapature is his sire.
Oh, Tapature. Okay. Okay, tap it in the.
Yeah, not a huge thing, but out of Tappet, obviously, Tapature. But yeah, it's funny. I wonder what you think about him on the turf, because we talk about it, even though he's a great sprinter on the dirt, but he's just fearless.
Well,
So,
all the Tappets are pretty versatile. So
yeah, he's mean like a Tappet horse too.
He is mean.
Yeah,
I always said if this horse was a person, he'd be a serial killer.
yeah, he's
That's nice.
He's
Nice.
crazy.
very nuts. We've
Um,
told stories about him. But so John, so you're doing that one now. When is that supposed to come out? This downhill one, because we need this before the meet.
here's what happened, and I'll make it brief. March 31st, 2019 was that fateful day that Arms Runner broke down coming down the hill. But they have four races that day down the hill, and then they did a hard stop on March 31st down the hill. And I just assumed that they would take a break, and then in the fall they would pick up the downhill again. So I had the research. I made a big bet, and I published the book in July of 2019. And of course, I lost that bet because they stopped it for 2 years. So when they announced 3 weeks ago, I was just like through the roof, because I have this research I sat on for 9 years and then published the book, and then I couldn't do anything with it. So you get the breaking news here, and I'll send you the copy.
That is awesome, and that's good. Yeah, absolutely. Breaking news on this, and I probably shouldn't. Well, I'll say this because I heard it, but I won't reveal my source. John, you'll get probably a kick out of this. You know what I heard was the reason from a pretty reliable source. I'll just say the reason why that downhill course was canceled. You know this, Sarah, because you were there when this was said.
I do.
Because Stonich Group was there. And let's say the family member of the Stonich Group was there that day when you said the breakdown.
March 31st.
Yeah,
Yep.
was there and literally blamed not the dirt crossing or anything, but not anything. Apparently it was nothing. It was a breakdown of the horse. It was terrible. It saw that, blamed the downhill, and when your wife talks, you listen. And I'll just leave it at that. That's what I heard, what happened. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just reporting what I heard, which,
And for a while, there's been so many rumors about the downhill course. I mean, we started hearing them last summer. Oh, it's going to be opening up soon. Oh, it's going to be open up soon. Oh, if it's not open by the winter meet, it's not going to happen at all. And then now finally October
well, they
1st.
kept the maintenance up on it. And I noticed that when
They
we were
did.
there. So when you're keeping the maintenance up on something, it's probably going to go.
Well, they did the 1 3/4 on it
Yeah.
as well, and it's the same thing basically.
Yep.
But Lafitte Penkai ended his career with the breakdown he had on that race, that because he broke his collarbone and some other things, and but I mean it when you talk to people about Santa Anita, everyone, that's the first thing. When are they going to bring it back? When are they going to bring it back? It's just, it has that iconic flavor to, and you see at the top of the hill. And if you ever go up behind that area, you see the dip.
Oh yeah.
It's so cool. It's just the coolest race ever.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
it's a turn to the left or to the right. Shu, how do you feel about the downhill? Do you like that? Is that one you bet, or is that because you're an East Coast guy and you don't even think about it?
It's grass, I love that. So yeah, I like the downhill a lot. I'm interested now. Is Santa Anita going to card 6 furlong regular races like they did this past meet, and then also have the 6.5 downhill? I mean, how are they going to card these?
Well, I looked at their stake schedule for the fall meet, and they have 4 stakes schedules on the downhill, and I think it's going to be like a beta testing it, and maybe on a limited basis, maybe some high priced allowance races, maybe, but 4 stakes in the fall meet on the downhill.
Awesome.
Nice.
I mean, I love it. I got some other buzz. I think I can say it. I know. I'll give you a winner. CJ Thoroughbreds is thinking of sending Miss Alacrity out there for a turf sprint. I think next month, and that's another Munnings, a New York bred Munnings, and she's a monster. And I think she'll love that turf course. I know that's rumors, and I know I talked to CJ, and that was something they were thinking of doing. But if you see Miss Alacrity out there, the New York bred for Ward and CJ Thoroughbreds, take it to the hoop.
Well, and that's great. I mean, that just all tied into everything.
Yeah.
Right there. I mean, with the Munnings horse going out here, downhill, like John said. But yeah, that's amazing. It's
on that horse you mentioned, Dan, Sadler one day gave out a little secret about how he trains horses for the downhill, and he says he trains it as if though it were a 7 furlong race. So what that told me is that you have to have long sustained workouts to really master that last, after they cross the dirt, that last 300 yards, whatever it is. So Sadler trains it as if though it were a 7 furlong race, even though it's about 6.5. They call it about 6.5.
Interesting. Makes sense. I mean, Ward trains Miss Alacrity, and Ward trains for instead of 7 furlongs. I think Ward trains for, 20-yard races, but that's okay. I'm sure the horse will, I'm sure the horse will break like a rocket.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense physically too. When you think about the physics of it, is if you're going down the hill, like anytime you're running down a hill, it takes more effort, believe it or not,
There's
rather than
more
because you're
momentum.
stopping a little bit and it's like more muscular effort
Mhm.
than it is to just run straight. Like, oh, you can coast. You can't though, because you're taking
Right, and
turns.
And when horses hit that dirt, every horse is a little different. Some will stray off to the left, some will stray off to the right, and you just don't know until, and they do practice it before the race. They run over it, but it's nothing like full speed. So you never know what the horse is going to do when they hit that dirt strip.
Yeah.
All right, so that's very interesting, and we'll go on and to get back to it once again. View on what it says. Crack the code on 7.5 furlong races. It's an unbelievable book right here. A lot of research. We'll tell you how to get that. Definitely a good handicapping guide, and obviously something coming out for downhill. You do a lot of research, John. I don't know how you have the patience to do it.
And the gelding study too.
I'm sorry.
The gelding study I sent you.
Yes, I was just going to bring that up. I didn't want to give too much away of your study, John, as I know you said this could be an added bonus. First time gelding study. First time gelding is an angle that I know Randy uses. I've used it. A lot of people use this angle, and this kind of flips the lid on that.
Overrated.
John, it's a free
Overrated.
gift to get with your book. Let's not
We
go
won't
into
tell
it
you
too
much more about this,
But
but the good thing is,
Shu, what would you think the percentage of first-time gelding winners are? What would you say?
All I know, and I'd like to, maybe I think I know, maybe I'm wrong, but the first time gelding angle on the turf is not as strong on the dirt. I wonder if I'm right about that. I wonder if John can tell me that at least, but I think it's a lot stronger on dirt than it is on turf. Am I right?
I didn't differentiate between dirt and turf.
Okay.
But it was
All right.
But it was over 1,200 races that I logged of first time geldings over a 5-year period at Hollywood Park and Del Mar and Santa Anita. Well, it was all three. And like I said, I'm here to educate and elevate this game so much. And it was only 13% winners first time gelding. But I don't know turf. I didn't do the turf dirt separation.
Okay.
but we won't give you any more information because this is something. In
Now, if
addition,
you order John's
it-
book, you'll have an autographed copy of a picture of Shu.
there you go. It's a package deal.
But again, it's the public handicappers that put out the same, oh, he's a first time gelding, I'm going to go with that horse. And it's the same BS over and over for 25, 30 years. The trainer doesn't know what he's doing when he does a gelding. They don't know if it's going to work. They're trying to appease the owner, say, well, we'll geld him, we'll cut him, we'll do something, we'll put blinker. It's a guess. And it was only 13% winner. So, I always, but the thing to look for is if you see improvement on the gelding, because thanks to Jay Bridman, who pushed the gelding, first time gelding in the daily racing form, you can see some improvement because they have the date of when the horse was gelded. And if you see improvement, the second time they're gelded, second race after being gelded, sometimes that can be a winner. So you have to really.
Thank you so much for not saying second time gelded, because
Yeah.
Sarge said that on our show.
Maybe gelded twice.
I
I
totally
don't-
went after him about it, and I just said, well, the
Second
only
race
time you
after
gelded twice. John, I don't know if you're married. I know Shu
Happily
is.
divorced. Happily divorced.
Okay, so if you got
see, John
if you got
was gelded
remarried,
at one point.
so if you got remarried, that'd be second time gelded. And that's it.
Touche.
That's the only way that could happen.
I like that.
Um,
I like that.
But a really awesome thing about his book I also wanted to bring up is that $3 from every sale of this book goes to Karma for Horses. It's always
Yes.
John's always given us and then giving back. And I think that's incredible.
And
Yeah,
for the
absolutely.
for the downhill book as well.
John, and I'll let you do it too. You have the 7 furlong Sire Rankings. You do 7 and 7.5. You can buy this. So you're going to tell us where you can buy it, but it's really cool, and it's really easy to just look it up and everything.
And he
like
gives
that.
you all the information on how to read this. and how to really break
That's
it
what
down.
Sire needed.
I'm still learning to read in general, but getting there.
Welcome
John,
to
give it-
Degen
John-
Nation.
John, give us a tease. Who's a young sire that pops on the list? And don't tell me it's Protonico.
Never. I'll never mention that horse's name. That's Sire. Don't get me started on that.
I had to.
Okay. I'm trying to think off the top. Well, Munnings, of course, is one.
Right.
All right. Let me. Well, one that's been around a long time is a crack sprinter is Wildcat Hare.
Okay.
And that one is, I know Peter Miller loves horses by Wildcat Hare. So if you see that in a 7 furlong race,
That's a good one.
What's that?
That's a good one.
But as far as up and coming, God, I'm telling you, sometimes they just blend into one horse into another over time. But I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the question, but I can get back to you on that.
No
worries.
No worries.
Yeah, I was just curious if somebody
Yeah.
popped.
Well, I'll tell you one recently though. Always keep an eye on a Curlin in a 7 furlong because Grace Adler was like it was just blinking green on for me. Grace Adler, because it was Curlin, and Curlin in that field just dominated all the other sires in the Del Mar Debutante. It was I think a $10 horse that day, so that was a good one. Except I didn't have the Lonesome Dove horse by Peter Miller, which is $74 horse. That blew my pick 5.
So John, do you like when you look at a program, is your big thing because you're a big sire? Is that like your main angle?
Well, here's the thing. Years ago, Roger Stein had a radio show out here, and he has asked one of the handicappers, "How do you break down a race?" And he said, 70% horse, 15% jockey, 15% trainer, as to how you evaluate a horse in that race. So that always stuck with me as like oatmeal handicapping tip, that where this really respected handicapper, pick 6 winner, put 70% of his evaluation on the horse, not the human factor. So that, and then who beat who, and not so much the speed figures, but who beat who in what class level did they beat them. You can always separate horses like over and over again by who beat who. And the good thing about California, Dan, I don't know if you have this, but we have cow racing replays where you can dive really deep into the replays of all the horses in a race and go back 5-6 races to see who beat who, and then really separate the winners from the losers.
Not bad.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Oh.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like a boxing match where,
No.
styles beat
Well,
styles. Horses
another
can
foul-
run your run, right?
Another fallacy in handicapping is that we have unconscious bias. So I have a friend, ex-girlfriend, I'll say, who she won't bet Mike Smith because she doesn't like him, so she won't bet him, and that's having an unconscious bias. Years ago, Todd Pletcher was on a radio show with Roger Stein, and he said, what horses are giving you problems? And he said, I never could get along with a Capote. But he didn't explain why, but he had an unconscious bias on that sire. And when we look at the racing form, we'll look at jockeys, trainers, and we'll have that unconscious bias. And I try to just blank that out and start with the horse.
Yeah.
John, 2 things I took out of that. So obviously you dated Chantel Sutherland, and also
No.
Baffert actually has one of those, I believe, with Empire Maker.
Oh, really?
I believe he doesn't like Empire Maker horses. Out of Empire Maker, doesn't get along with them or something like that. Doesn't want them, which is weird because he had Empire Maker, I believe.
It's a really strong.
I heard he's
strong.
Yeah, I heard he said the same thing about Pioneer of the Nile.
Oh, no, you know what? You might be right. I think it's Pioneer.
I think it's Pioneer of the
I
Niles,
think I
right?
screwed that up with Empire Maker.
I
It's
think
his
it's
own-
Pioneer of the
It's
Nile
Pioneer
for
of the
sure.
Nile.
It's his only horse that ever went on to produce anything in the breeding shed.
Yeah.
And it's the one horse that I've heard he said, I don't like Pioneer of the Niles, which is hilarious because that's his only horse that's actually produced something that's worth, I mean,
Yeah.
right? I mean, of all his great horses, Pioneer of the Nile was probably his best, pedigree breeding horse.
But
We had a horse out of Pioneer of the Nile that
He had
Baffert
that, yeah.
trained for a little bit. And
I
then
was totally thinking Empire Maker.
got
Was
rid
Empire
of-
Maker? No, they're not. Right? No.
But Dan, and you guys have to always take whatever a trainer says with a ton of salt. A ton of salt.
Mhm.
Okay, I don't know if Sarah, you guys were watching TVG at the end of the Del Mar meet. So Bob Hess comes on, and there's a 2-year-old filly in a route race, first asking. And he says on the interview with TVG before the race, this horse is 3 works shy of being ready to win. The horse wins like a $30 horse. 2-year-old filly. He was saying that so to keep the price good so he can go to the windows.
right,
Mhm.
right.
A trainer, whatever trainers say publicly, it could be the opposite. You just have to know which trainers are kind of straight shooters and which are just puffing up, for whatever reason, puffing up smoke.
Wait a minute, you're telling us that Baffert's not telling the truth about some of his
Uh,
horses? Maybe Medina Spirit? Are you saying he's fibbing about
No.
Medina Spirit?
Next question.
Ah,
I actually have a funny, I think I told the story before, but I have a funny story about, remember when she was a big friend of hers, Baffert's wife, when she told me, Axeman in the
Huge
race
fan.
against,
Yeah.
I told you the story, yeah.
Cezanne and
Cezanne
Axeman.
and Axeman, she gives me Axeman on the side of me. And I was like, well, let's bet Cezanne. And she's going to the winner's circle when Cezanne runs by. So yeah, no, you're absolutely right, John. So let's, before we get into the news, let's get this 7 furlong Sire rankings. John, you know what you're doing. You obviously, done your research. It's really cool to check out. Where can they get it and everything like that? We'll tell again at the end, but where can they get this book and everything?
Okay, I'm total old school, and so I don't have a website, and I've been encouraged, but let's face it, it's a tough thing to educate handicappers who are just want to hear what the selections are. They don't want to do any digging, but it's $28.95. Send me a check or a money order to payable to the Maiden Man, 150 South Glenoaks Boulevard, Burbank, 91502.
Yeah, we'll put that up there on the screen right now.
Yeah,
And
that'll
also-
be in the description below.
And John, we'll see what we can do with Degen to make this, for you. I'll take half the profits and
Fair
she'll
enough.
buy
Oh,
cigars
good.
with another half
Yeah.
of the profits, and we'll all
Well,
sell this book for you.
I kind of chuckled because you have a quote on here from Jimmy the Hat.
Right.
Now, Jimmy the Hat was like a featured handicapper on the show Jockeys. He was in almost every episode. And so we just started going to Santa Anita a couple of years ago when we moved out to California. And I've looked for Jimmy the Hat and I was like, I wonder if he's done. Never seen Jimmy the Hat again until I got this in the mail and I was like, there he is.
He was at Del Mar this meet,
Was he?
and he was there.
Let me see.
Just look for the top hat, or not a top
What
hat,
I
but
keep
a hat.
looking for. I guess I'm looking in the wrong areas.
Let me tell you a real quick story. He's the guy that brought me in '86, but let me tell you a quick story at Hollywood Park about Jimmy. So he was I think running bets for Bobby Frankel at the time. That was his close inside scoop kind of guy. He put in a pick six for about $2,300 when at the old type pick six, and I was sitting near him watching the first leg of the pick six, and the $2,300 pick six, and the first leg goes by, and he doesn't have that horse. He just sat there and stared at the track for 5 minutes, like, what the hell just happened? And 2,300 just down the drain, just like that. So he's a true straight shooter gambler. Dan, I think you and he would be fast friends. He has so many stories about horse racing, and he did win $1 million pick six at Hollywood Park years ago. So he's the
Not
real
bad.
deal.
Give me the hat.
Give me that.
Yeah, and-
Shout out to him. All right, so yeah, so that's definitely it. We'll put it up there on the screen. So we're gonna do the news, John, and then we're gonna do a quick buy or sell, 5 things buy or sell them with the Triple Clown. So, Mrs. Big News, let's go into it.
All right. Well, let's start off. We have some updates. If you haven't heard them yet, on Tomas Mejia, suspended for 10 years and fined about $5,000. He is denied access from all of New Jersey race grounds. So poor kid's career is most likely over. I don't see him bouncing back from this.
You want me to go on a rant or no?
Go ahead.
I've heard
That's why
parts
we're
of
doing
your
it.
rant. I know. This is, I'm eyeing issue.
You got. Listen, I say poor Mejia, and I shouldn't say poor Mejia because the kid screwed up and he's done from racing, right? He's done. His career is over. But you have a kid who made a mistake, right? Young kid comes over, has talent, makes a mistake. He's gone for 10 years now. This is racing's biggest fault. They think they could just push him under the rug and it's over. Oh, that's it. Well, why not bring him in? And why doesn't the Jockeys Guild or the NJ Racing Commissioner, whoever makes these decisions, say, Tomas, come in, talk to us. We'll give you immunity. Whatever you say, we're not going to charge you on race fixing and go in front of federal courts. We just want to know who taught you how to use it, what trainers were you using for, what trainers knew. But racing doesn't do this, and they don't do it because they don't want the answers to these questions, because they know that other people know and knew. And it went a lot deeper than some young kid from Panama. It's not like he flew over here with a buzzer in his pocket. I mean, he was using this in the mornings, using it in the afternoons. He was probably being put on horses just because he was using it. And now we're never going to know. And now you look at videos on Twitter, you could see he's handing the darn thing to Duarte after a race.
Yeah.
And Duarte had 2 horses in the other day. How is Duarte not out for 10 years? I mean, these poor kids, he's done for 10 years, and trainers can do whatever the hell they want.
Yes.
You got Baffert with his stuff. You got Duarte supposedly, who knows? I have nothing official, but it looks on plain video like he's handing him the buzzer right after the race. Duarte had 2 horses in Sunday at Monmouth. It just makes no sense to me. Makes no sense. Give the kid immunity, bring him in, interview him, find out everything you need to know, and then wipe the people out.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
Well, you know what though, Dan, I don't know if you know the story with Gerard Melanson when he got caught fixing the race. He told us this story. I don't know if you know about this, John, either. He got caught fixing a race when he was like 17 and like 18 and smoking crack at the time. Like
Okay.
he really
He was offered money to fix a race.
50 to 1 shot he was on. Don't hit the board and we'll pay you like $500 or something stupid.
Okay.
He did what you said. He cooperated.
And he went to trial to testify
And
against.
what happened to him? Because he testified against one of the people that was friends with I want to make sure I get this right because I don't want to be quoted on this if not, but I'm pretty sure Churchill down, higher up, the white hair's friend. So he testified against him. They said, you're going to be banned for life. Will you testify? Admit it. This is what happened. He did that. So he gets suspended for like a year or something like that, or he gets a little suspension. He never got his racing license. That's why
He was
never
banned
got
for 30 plus years
he still can't get
from racing in Kentucky.
Kentucky.
He can't get a license.
because
Still, and
he
this
went
was
against
in
them.
30 plus years ago at this point.
There's no protection for jockeys whatsoever.
No.
It's really sad. There's no protection for them.
And there's none
Yeah.
for every, I mean, we bring this up all the time, and anybody in the comments, please, once again, we used to joke around about who should be the commissioner and everything. This is getting bad that we need a universal body. Like at least something.
If
every other sport has it.
If this was college football or college basketball, the NCAA would come down and say horse racing overall, there's a lack of institutional control, and they'd shut down the program. That's how bad we've gotten in this sport. I just heard another story that will probably break in a month about something related to Navarro and service that extended. And the problem is in this industry, and you guys know it, you guys meet a lot of big name people out there in California, across the country. The problem with racing, and like Kent Sweezy gets mad at me because we'll be BSing and I'll say something to Kent. And, you know, you can't say that to this person. They may also have a horse with this person. You know, the game is so, for lack of a better word, inbred. And everybody knows everybody. You know, like if I go and go after Gary and Mary West. Well, Gary and Mary have horses all over the country with so many different trainers. And I may piss off a trainer that I really like, and I didn't mean to do that. But it's so inbred, and there's so many hands in the cookie jar that you can't expect people to rule and you know, judge the game fairly. It just can't be done. It has to be done externally with a third party. It just cannot be done within racing. There's too many rats in racing offices. You hear about Linda Rice scratching entries at the gate before the race, you know, and people knew about it because she heard a claim was in. There was another story earlier this year at a racetrack where I know a claim was put in on a horse. The trainer was tipped off and they scratched the horse in the post parade. Stuff like this goes on all over because people are friends. People have relationships. People know people. And that's okay. But you're hurting the gambler, you're hurting the integrity of the game. And unless you get a true third party to overlook this stuff, it's never going to get cleaned up. It really isn't.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, the tightrope I have to walk, I work with my racehorse. I mean,
yeah, you know, I mean,
I do the show. So like it is hard because it is like at any second, you know, I'm going to get a phone call. And you know, of like I probably get one now, and I'm like, we're not even on yet. But you know, my phone will ring and be like, did you just say that about, you know, we have 7 horses with them? No, actually, they're pretty good about it. I have to say, like, they know what I do. I'm an independent contractor with them and what I do here. So, but it's a tightrope because you worry so much about who you're gonna offend, which they can't be that sensitive when you're just reporting on stuff and talking about it. Like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. That's it.
Well, and we all say the welfare of the horses is our first priority, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if the welfare of horses is our priority, then you can't be offended by stuff. If something is hurting a horse, and if something like, you know, supposedly a trainer in New Jersey is behind that stuff, or you see him handing the butt, well, excuse me, what if one of his horses goes down next week and breaks his leg in the middle of the track? And then people have this video, and then they're going back and say, wait, you let this guy continue to run horses, and his horse, you know, like, so you have to put the welfare of the horses first. If we really believe that, then you have to, you know, judge the game fairly and say, all right, because of that, you're also gone, or we got to come in and question you or do X, Y, Z. But the welfare of the horses has to be first and foremost. And it's just like, you know, in healthcare, if you're talking about drugs or you're talking about stuff, if you put patient focus first, you'll win that argument. Well, if we put horses first, then you're going to win a lot of arguments. And unfortunately, in this industry, horses, who we say are first, you know, we put out there as a priority, unfortunately aren't a lot of times.
Yeah. It's almost like, and I hate to compare the two because people will probably say something. It's like child welfare. When it comes to like when the state programs for child welfare, that's what they try to do when they do it. That should be the horses. Like if you're deemed this kind of person, you can't, because it's kind of, I mean, once again, terrible analogy, I guess. It's when you call the cops, when you call the cops on like abusive spouse, whatever it might be, they bring you both to jail and figure it out because they can't leave you there in case somebody gets killed. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what you said. And we need to start looking at that more with horses. I mean, for the industry and everything like that. Terrible thing that I just brought up.
That was you went there. All right, but let's go on to another controversial. Bob Baffert. This week, the Breeders' Cup board is reviewing the case with him to see if he's going to be allowed to send his horses to the Breeders' Cup. Now, according to the Breeders' Cup board, that the Breeders' Cup policy has not been violated, that none of the drugs found in his previous violations have reached the penalty threshold according to the Breeders' Cup policies.
Okay. I mean, if that's their real policies, I mean, what do should they?
Well, the problem is, what if Bob has a horse in the classic or whatever race, the sprint, and they draw a post position he doesn't like, then what happens?
I was going to bring that up. That is something I was going to bring up.
Did I tease it? Did I tease that well?
We're all over
you know
that
what?
today.
You know what? Let's talk about this. We have the Pennsylvania Derby coming up. Now they did the post position draw, and Medina Spirit draws number 9. And Bob Baffert stated that is too wide for Medina Spirit and has scratched Medina Spirit from this weekend's Pennsylvania Derby. Really? I don't even know what to say about that besides, really, Bob? I mean, it's a great field. Like, let's just, it's a really good contenders in this field. And now we're down to a 9-horse field because he didn't like the post position. It seems very childish, but I don't know.
Well, that or you're just showing your hand that the horse isn't that good. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I hate to say that, but it's anybody that can't, I don't know. John, what do you think about that? I haven't heard from you in a minute. What's going on, John? You all right?
Well, just to kind of echo what Dan said about being an inbred industry, I always like to say it's the smallest billion-dollar industry in the U.S., where it's just everything is so entwined. But then I think about Mandela or John Sheriffs, and I think about these class acts who year in and year out have these great horses that are just magnificent to watch, and they keep winning and winning, and these are that's where I kind of go to the elite horsemen that have done this year in and year out, and watch them and how they act and perform, and they're clean, and that's what we have to promote and keep reminding the public that by and large, it's a clean industry. There are bad apples all over the place, yes, but think about these true horsemen who, some of these guys have, some of the old school guys have, 4 horses, 5 horses, and they cling on to the belief that they're going to get that one true great horse. And, so this is what keeps me going, is that these are some really class acts in the business above the headlines that we see every day.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I can attest to that. I deal with Mandela with a lot of our horses, and I'll tell you what.
Clifford Size, and I mean another one. I mean, just anyway, go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, he's almost frustrating to a point of how, I don't want to say frustrating because I think it's a good thing, how slow and how he takes care of the horse. Horse gets hurt, horse needs time off, where most people give him 15, 30 days. He's giving him 90. And he's that guy. So you're absolutely right. I mean, we concentrate on that. Not every quarterback in the NFL is murdering dogs. I mean, but and that's
Hope not.
but no, I know, but
I
that's
know
kind of how
what
we
you're
look at
saying.
horse racing.
Yeah.
One thing happens and
There are some good trainers out there that care and put the
By
horse
most.
first. Yeah.
not even
It's
most.
just the bad ones are under the microscope. The bad ones are in the media.
So we think, but so should the policy be changed quickly? So if he didn't hit those grounds, what do you guys think about the policy being changed? If that's the facts and he didn't violate the policies of the drug policies, should these policies be changed, or should it be if it's 20 misdemeanors equals a felony?
I'll ask. I would love for the Breeders' Cup, right? And we all know what the Breeders' Cup is in this for. They pump up their sires. They and again, look at Baffert. He's going to run because look what the Justifies are selling for. So they're laughing on the back end of this. Let's not skip that. I mean, Bob Baffert has made these breeders billions of dollars, and 90% of them have never run to anywhere near their potential. But why don't we do something really novice in this game? There's 2 people that put money into this game, right? 2 owners and the gamblers. Why don't you poll every single owner in the game and every gambler and ask them if Bob should be allowed to run horses? And let's see what they say. Let's ask the people who actually put the money up every week, every year into the game and say, hey, we're the Breeders' Cup. We get it. We know what we're here for. But why don't we ask all the owners in horse racing and do a gambler's poll? And if they say we want Bob in, then Bob runs. If they say we don't want Bob, then we don't have him. Wouldn't that be a novice idea?
Well, it's like a test market and a TV show. You do a TV show. What do
They do it there.
They can think you're the best actor in the world and be whatever. But when the crowd says
If
we
you fail
don't
a
like
test
this,
audience, you fail it.
you fail. So, I mean, it's a test audience, so it's not a bad idea.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, it's the review's happening this week, so more to come on that. The last piece of news I wanted to talk about is Santa Barbara is not going to be shipping over here for the Breeders' Cup. She was the Futures favorite for the filly and mare turf after a very impressive wins in the Belmont Oaks as well as the Beverly D Stakes, but Aiden O'Brien said there was a setback in her training and he's going to ship over Mother Earth as well. I haven't found much.
Instead.
Instead. Haven't found much information on what that setback was, but Santa Barbara, I know a lot of eyes are on this horse coming back to see how she's going to dominate the turf, but we won't be
Definitely
seeing her
a
this year.
favorite. Definitely a favorite. I mean, how could she not be?
Yeah.
Nice horse. I mean, last year at Keeneland, it set up really well for the Euros, and the Euros came over here and showed that. This year at Del Mar, expecting a really firm footing. I would actually expect the American group to do pretty well this year. So I was going to start to fade the Euros, but that is a big miss. It would have been nice to see Santa Barbara run.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly. Well, let's quickly recap. So we had 3 graded stakes races, but I also wanted to talk about a non-graded stakes race. So we'll start off with Churchill Saturday's card where we had, in race 8, the grade 3 Pocahontas. This is a win and you're in for the juvenile fillies where Hidden Connections won, followed by Mama Marina and Goddess of Fire.
Is fifth, and down inside is Mama Marina. They're off the turn. They're into the stretch. Hidden Connection shaken up to a 3-length lead, and now it's 4. Majestic Doro's trying hard. Mama Marina toward the inside. Goddess of Fire's late in the scene on the 1s and 2s behind that, but they are all chasing Hidden Connection. Hidden Connection streaking through the stretch to win the Pocahontas by 8 lengths on the wire.
Ray Lou with a great ride. I was proud of, you know what, he's made a name for himself. He's coming along. He's working hard. Team Santos ain't getting Ray Lou on some good horses. And I know there was debate if he was going to stay on this horse, and who knows if he stays on and moving forward, but Ray Lou sat chilly. I actually played across country and got scratched out of my single. I singled the 11 in that race and he got scratched.
Well,
and so I scratched into the 9 and I was cheering like hell for Ray Lou. Like, come on, man. And I got it. But Ray Lou, great ride. That's a nice horse. Real nice horse.
Yeah. Race 9 was the grade 3 Iroquois Stakes, which is a win and you're in for the juvenile where we had Major General followed by Tough to Tame and Red Knobs.
General rests a short lead away from Stellar Tap, who's in tight down toward the rail and tries to fight on. Stellar Tap and Major General head to head, shoulder to shoulder. Tough to Tame, third and closing in. Bourbon Heist is rolling down the center of the Churchill Downs. Red Knobs is there as well. 16th to go. Major General trying to fend off an oncoming Tough to Tame. Major General digs down deep. Tough to Tame surges. Here's the wire. It's going to be close. Major General got it.
Fun to see these juveniles right now. I mean,
It is. I mean, this is a tough. I mean, Major General who took the lead. He dug deep to really. He was battling Tough to Tame. He went wide. That was the tactical skills in that race. I thought were very interesting and very impressive for these juveniles.
That's what it comes down to, really, when they're 2, is if they can, compete.
Yeah, exactly.
I was in bed. That race was too late for me.
Well, you didn't watch the next one either, which was race 10, the grade 3 Lucas Grave Stakes.
No, you woke up for that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I rallied.
Yeah. She Dares the Devil wins yet again, followed by Crystal Ball and Evutant.
High Regard comes wide off the turn, and Matera, top of the stretch. She Dares the Devil, set down for the final 3/16, holding on to that lead. Crystal Ball's trying to sneak through down inside. Enfutant is there. High Regard, our super freak Matera. She Dares the Devil has to fend off Crystal Ball. Crystal Ball's in so tight down toward the rail. She Dares the Devil, digs down some more, and She Dares the Devil does it.
She Dares the Devil is 5 for 5 at Churchill. I went wire to wire in that race.
I'm telling you, She Dares the Devil's tough. I didn't want to do that, but you know what? Last horse to beat Latruska, and honestly, I can't think that Latruska is that much better than She Dares the Devil. I'm sorry. I know everybody's getting mad at me about that. Monomoy Girl comes back. She Dares the Devil. Latruska. I mean, we're talking heavyweights. We're talking brawlers at that point.
Didn't the Devil win at Del Mar This
She did. She came
She
over
did.
and won
So-
impressively because that
Oh,
doesn't
that was an
usually happen.
incredible race.
You don't come to the dirt to Del Mar and win
Yeah.
from there, and she did.
But probably in the trainer's mind, probably a prep for the Breeders' Cup because
Almost.
Pletcher. You remember Pletcher brought out Vino Rosso prior to the Breeders' Cup at Santa Anita last, and won a race. And he admitted that he wanted Vino to have that race over the track first.
Become
think-
a horse for the course.
And I think
go.
trainers know that if you're going to be in the Breeders' Cup, you got to be there early, running your horse to get feel of the track, because these animals are so fickle as to what they like on their feet. Soft turf, hard turf, yielding, blah blah blah. On and on. So Devil at Del Mar could be a single. I don't know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to Belmont, where we had race 10, which was the Jockey Club Derby Invitational, 1.5 miles. This was a win and you're in for the Longines Turf, where this is a race I say, watch the replay. It is very impressive. Ubeer won that race, followed by Soldier Rising and Slick Back.
For some room, top of the lane, it's Slick Back, your leader. Soldier Rising, there's Ubeer, and Ubeer is now mowing him down. Ubeer in a last to first move. In an instant, Ubeer with an 8 to go is sprinted 2 lengths clear. Soldier Rising is chasing that move. Slick Back, not today, Bolshoi Ballet. Ubeer from last to first will win the Jockey Club Derby and is in the Breeders' Cup.
Ubeer stepped very slow out of the gate, chased the field the whole race, and then the top of the stretch, he just had another gear and he dominated in that stretch. It was a very impressive run by that horse.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rolled.
And now they're in. Now we're getting ready for the Breeders' Cup.
Now
We're
we're
getting
getting,
amped up.
we're getting closer and closer. Woo! All right.
All right, so quickly, guys, we're gonna go into it. And we always have some fun on this show. We're gonna do a
Sometimes.
little bit of a buy and sell. We haven't done this yet. We're gonna do buy or sell. I have 5 things here. You're gonna either buy or sell. You guys tell me why quickly. We'll run through it. All right, so you're gonna buy or sell. Shu, I'll start with you. Latruska as horse of the year. Buy or sell that?
Ooh, geez. Man, you really do have to think about it. I mean, I guess you have to buy, you have to. I mean, her performance at Oaklawn alone, I mean, that was one of the races of the year. She's just been so ultra tough. I mean, we'll see what happens this fall, but yeah, you have to, at this point in the year, you have to buy into it.
All right. Sarah,
I agree. You'd have to buy.
buy it. John, what about you?
I'll buy if she can carry all the tracks around with her, and if she's in. I don't have her PPs in front of me, but if she can win on multiple tracks, yes, buy.
All right, I'm selling because I'm that guy. And I'm going to sell that because she needs to run against the boys for me to give her horse of the year. And I'm not being sexist at all, but I'd like to see her run against essential quality at this point. I don't know how you couldn't go there if not. And that's why I'm going to sell. All right, so let's move on. Monmouth, here you go, Dan. Coming back next year with the no whip rule. Do you think you're going to buy that or sell it? That they're going to come back with it or change it?
I'm going to sell it because I hope that by then the Jockeys Guild and everybody's going to get together and we're going to have a national rule, and it's going to be X amount of sticks in the stretch, no sticks out of the gate, whatever it is. I think we're going to have a national rule before the meet starts next year. And the folks in New Jersey are just going to say, okay, we'll adopt that.
All right, don't ever lean on folks in New Jersey agreeing with anything. You should know that better than anybody. Sorry, New Jersey, but you know what I mean, but you won't agree with me anyway, so who cares? All right, Sarah, what about you?
I'd sell it. I think the Monmouth meet was just showing Monmouth capsizing itself with everything that happened.
All right, John, what about you?
I'm going to buy the rule because in the beginning at Santa Anita, there was so much resistance, but then the jockeys adjusted, the fines reduced, and they adjusted to the rule, and it keeps PETA away.
Okay, I'm gonna sell it as well. I think they're gonna come up with some weird excuse that it's the safety of the horses is better, because I think that is actually true with the whip, and they're gonna do a 5-6 rule. That's what I think. But I think they will mask it with, so I'm kind of going
Okay.
with you, John, too, where they're gonna mask it with, oh, we did a study, and the study says, it's safer for the horse actually to have the crop. But no buzzers. I promise you that won't be allowed. All right, so okay, all right, so we'll go to the next one real quick. All right, Monomoy girl running in the Breeders' Cup.
Ooh.
Running or winning?
Running.
She's gonna run, right? You have to buy that, no?
In the Breeders' Cup.
A
You mean
lot of
what-
people
which
think
race?
she's
Too
not.
quick.
A lot of people think she's not.
Mm.
I'm
Really?
buying it too. Okay, I'll go out. I'm buying it too. And I'll tell you why, which I've talked about before, but a lot of people are, Vic Stauffer was like, no, Randy, there's no way.
She came out for the Breeders' Cup at Santa Anita, right?
But she's hurt right now. Well,
She's training at Ellis Park right now.
yeah.
So she's back training, but I mean, you think about it, the Breeders' Cup is a month and a half out.
Yeah.
So buy or sell, Sarah.
I'm gonna buy it because I think that would be a killer, like Monomoy girl comeback. And that horse is just, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna take my chances here. I'm gonna buy it.
All right, John, you buying or selling?
I'll bet because she travels well. And if she's healthy, why not?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy too. And like I said, and this is a quick thing, I've gone over it before. I don't know if you ever heard this, but it's interesting, and this is nothing I know. I have to preference this with this because there's nothing about my racehorse. My racehorse, they have her this year. And when you have a lease, you can get rid of that lease at any time with horses. It's an odd thing. Like, so when she got hurt, they could have just cut the lease and not, paid for that amount of time they had her. And then it goes back to the original owners, right? Why would they keep her with a year lease if they're not aiming her for that? And once again, I don't know anything, so don't think I do. So with that, with the ownership group, they must be aiming her for that, because why wouldn't you? You're not going to like, oh, we'll go into the maybe the Malibu. That's the end of the year, which they would still have her, but you're not going to go to the Pegasus if you're that ownership group and care. Right?
Yeah.
Because you don't own her anymore. So why wouldn't you cut your losses unless she's going to a big race? So I would say buy too. So we're all buying that, which is weird because most people are saying no. There's no way she's going to be ready.
I mean, it's tough. Like I mentioned, we're a month and a half out.
She's training a little
She
bit.
is training.
And that's your
A little
favorite
bit.
trainer, Shu, with my
Brad, listen, Brad and I made up a little bit at Saratoga this summer. He gave me a little beef and we had a little makeup session, but he also told me that he loves training horses at Ellis Park. So I think the fact that she's there and working at Ellis, I know that's a surface that Brad really likes to get horses back on, feels good training horses out there. So I think that's kind of a positive that I think we'll see Monomoy this fall.
All right. I agree.
I
We're all
hope
buying
so.
that one. So
I
that's the
hope
one we
so.
all agree on.
Yep.
All right. So my next one, Bob Baffert will retire at the end of the year.
Oh,
Buy or sell?
see, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Shu, what do you think?
I really early this year after the Derby thought for sure he was going to call it quits. Because he had nothing else to prove. He's the greatest trainer that we've ever seen. I thought he was just going to say, you know what, the hell with this, I'm out of it. But, you're still seeing his big name owners sending horses his way. You're still seeing, at the sales, people posting stuff. But, I'm going to sell it. I think he's got too much of an ego. I think he has too much of a darn ego, unless he's forced to retire. I don't think he's going to retire on his own. I think he's got too much of an ego. And yeah, I think he's going to try to keep going.
I agree. The same exact reasons. When I've said for the longest time since the Derby stuff happened, of just retire. You've got the Triple Crowns. You've got the wins in the Breeders' Cup. You got this. You got that. I agree with Shu. It's his ego. He will not let his ego down.
All right, John, what do you think?
Absolutely. I agree with both of you. His ego is sometimes won't fit into the racetrack. I mean, I know too much, and you're right. I mean, he and plus he has unlimited funds for lawyers that will finagle and finesse and do this and that. His ego is it's like so many in the professional athletes who get caught doing something, deny. That's their motto. That's their MO. Deny, and they keep going. So
I'm going with, well, see, I'm going to buy it. You guys are selling it. I'm buying it for all the same reasons you guys just said, but you guys all hit it where it said if he's forced to retire. I think he's going to be the Jim Calhoun when he went away from UConn with basketball. I don't know if you guys know that reference, but basically like you're caught, you cheated, walk away, and everything's good. It's Richard Nixon resigning instead of being impeached. I think that's possibly could happen. So, and that's the only reason I'm kind of going against it with you guys. I do think if that doesn't happen, I think everybody hit it on the head, but I feel like they might be like, Bob, just walk away and retire and we'll just, but I do think that might happen.
Sweep it under the rug.
So maybe that's a long shot, but that's what I'm going.
We'll see.
All right. So the next one
Oh,
is one more.
okay.
Oh, two more really.
Oh,
Well, the first one's an important one.
let's do the port one.
Swift is a better handicapper and also made Shoe who he is. Buy or sell?
Well, Shu, do you want to take the reins with this one?
Let me tell you something. That kid can't even read a racing form, okay? He's on his phone at 6 a.m. every day, calling up every trainer and every trainer's cousin, trying to find something about their horse. And soon enough, they just lie to him and tell him, oh, yeah, the horse is going to roll today, win by 10. He bets his, fixed odds every day and loses his ass. So, no, he is not a better handicapper. He gets good information. He does. He works hard on getting information. I'll give him that. But he's a terrible handicapper. He's a terrible stride analyst. He's a terrible wannabe bloodstock agent. He's just awful. He's awful.
All right, so you're selling. Sarah, what about you? Do you sell or buy this?
Easy sell.
Easy sell. All right, John, I don't know if you know anything about this. Would you buy or sell this? Please buy.
I'm gonna take the fifth here because
Oh,
Smart move. Smart move.
smart.
I
Take
don't have
the fifth.
I don't have 10 years of research on either one, so I can't.
Well, I'm buying
Smart
it
move.
because no.
All
I'm
right.
going against you guys all the time. No, I figured I'd throw that in. It was I did see you
That
guys
was
go
good.
back and forth a little bit. Swift is obviously a little bit passively aggressively went after us before, but we all know that. So no love lost here. But I do think it's funny that I feel bad for him.
Poor guy. He's
He's
a job or something.
Yeah, he needs a hobby.
He
That's
needs
not
a
Twitter.
job. He needs a
hobby.
job.
Let him get a hobby besides.
His hobby is
Yep.
Twitter, so he needs a job that takes him away from Twitter.
We should probably stop.
Yeah. What's your last one?
My last
He's
one.
gonna be a
is-
vaccine specialist.
Yeah, and
Yeah, that's true.
my last one is Degen Nation, buying or selling.
Easy buy.
Buying Degen Nation. I mean, I think we had some talks this week. We have great momentum. We had the event out at Kentucky Downs when everybody came out to the RV. We had a huge party. It was fantastic. You guys are doing a tremendous job. We have outlets now across the country. We're starting to bring more and more people in. And like John talked about earlier with getting fans and younger fans to the racetrack and into horse racing and bringing more data into the game and such. There's so much pageantry around this game. There's so much tradition. We can help capture these young, sports gamblers, bring them into horse racing and continue to grow the game. So I think there's a huge future for us. I think we keep building momentum. And people often ask me, hey, what does Dylan or what does anybody want to get out of Degen Nation? Like, what's your end goal? And I said, this is it, man. Talking to horses, going on podcasts, having other people talk about racing, going out to racetracks, meeting people. Like, everyone who's into racing is part of Degen Nation in some way, shape, or form. So it's just growing that pot, getting people excited about it, tweeting about it, talking about it with their friends. Hopefully the Breeders' Cup this year is a huge hit, but getting people more involved, more passionate about racing. I think that's the goal, and I think we're doing a good job with it.
Absolutely. Sarah, buy or sell?
I'm buying it.
All right. John, what about you? Buy or sell Degen Nation?
In the words of Jim Cramer, buy, 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 buy.
Well, I'm
was good.
selling. No, I'm just kidding. Of course not.
Oh, gosh.
Buy. Mad Money. What was he? What did he do? What was Jim Cramer's show? Was
Yeah.
it like?
3 o'clock Pacific.
Yep.
Yeah, was it like Mad Money or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, buying all day long. Degen, I think, is making the right moves. We're glad to be aboard, and hopefully some more stuff coming out. I got the hat on today.
But just to
There you
echo Dan's comment about bringing in young people. I mean, I've failed at this game more than I've won, but the last 4 or 5 years when I've cashed some nice juicy pick 5 tickets and, was able to help my grandkids do some special things, put some money away, and the adrenaline rush you get when you cash big is that's an extra like cherry on top of the hundreds that they're throwing at you. And that is something I want to share with the younger generation coming up so we can sustain this game.
Absolutely. I mean, and
For
that's,
sure.
you're right. I thought it was dying. Listen, COVID might have helped. All of a sudden people got re-established in horse racing, and it caught the attention of everybody. And you're absolutely right, John. I fail at life most of the time, not
Yes.
just horse racing.
Yes, he
I'm
does.
terribly, anyway, no, but seriously, and you're absolutely right. So, we went a little long today.
We
Hope
did.
everybody enjoyed. So out
Make
there,
sure
we'll put it up there.
everybody get your hands on a copy of their 7 furlong Sire Rankings and first time gelding study. Like I said, this will blow your mind. This is going to change how you handicap. This is going to help you out, be a great tool. All the information is in the description below on how to get your hands on this. And, you can always DM us or whatever. I'll put this out on Twitter as well on how you can get a hold of him. And also John's on Twitter. John, what's your handle?
At CALIF, Maiden Man.
Go give him a follow.
We'll put that up there for you.
Yeah.
All right, so for us, it's Triple Clowns. With Shu jumping aboard the Triple Clowns now, which is
Shoe
awesome.
is a clown now.
Yeah,
Clown shoe.
He's always
That's
yeah,
it.
he's clown shoe.
Clown
I
shoe.
know. But
Horse
make
is
sure
gonna
you
win.
guys
Horse
hit
is
that
gonna win the
like.
Derby.
Yeah. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Give us a shout out. Follow all of us on social media as well.
Absolutely. And John Boal, author of Crack the Code, 7 Furlong, Sire Rankings, and other things coming out. And stay on, guys. We'll talk. But yeah, and that's it. So
See you later,
see you
everybody.
later, everybody.
Thank you so much.